All right, hello, hello, hello. Finally, it's all working. Instagram's going, X is going, YouTube, all the good stuff. So good. So very happy that it's all working. All right, so welcome to Otis Frampton Live. I will I'll try to get going here in a second. It's all good. Yay. All right, so today is the first day of doing the new streaming through Streamlabs, where I'm streaming to YouTube, Rumble, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Hopefully, I think it's all working. All right. Today is another episode of Makin and Talkin comics. I'm gonna work a little bit on this cover for issue 5 of the Patchwork Girl of Oz. I think this is the first time I've done something like this, really, starting from basically scratch. It's issue 5. I'm gonna be sketching. This is the first rough pass at what I have in mind. I know it looks like nonsense. But this is how things start. I'm going to do my best to try to keep up with the chat on all the places that I can see. Otherwise, I'm just going to get going. And I really appreciate everybody joining on Instagram now that it works. So here we go. And then at the 45-minute mark, I'm gonna switch over to talking about comics. It's actually 2 comics I'm gonna be talking about today. Two very special comics, very different comics than you normally see. I won't say any more than that. Just gonna get my reference set up here because I should have done that beforehand, but you know how it is. I'm not sure I can see the Rumble chat, so I'm not sure I'll be able to answer that. But so here we go. So this cover is basically going to be the 3 main characters that are seen on the cover for issue 1 here, and they're. I can show you this. They're sort of. This is the rough. Whoops. Oh, look at that. This is the rough version of the first page. Very rough, just to show what I had in mind of the 3 characters coming down the brick road, not the yellow brick road, but one of the brick roads, a very steep angle, and I wanted to kind of show that in the cover also in a fun way. And let's see if I can make this happen. So first, I'm just going to draw. I'm going to do rough versions of the characters and what I had in mind for them. To have her. This is the patchwork girl I'm drawing now. I basically kind of want to have her like rappelling down the side of the mountain here. Just got her dress and her skirt hanging. She's kind of having a really good time. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should have her arm kind of like she's looking like that, and the other arm outstretched as far as possible. And I have the title here because I always try to work around the title. I try to make it feel like, you know, part of it. like I did with the original cover here, which is sort of an homage to one of the original illustrations from the book. But I'm going to have her actually holding on to flowers here that are sort of stretched to their maximum. Let's see if I can get her legs, both her legs showing. I'm not sure I can. In a fun way. Kind of goes against what I had in mind. I wonder, kind of. All right. Now let's get to Ojo. And again, you're seeing the roughest version possible of this. I'm still working it out. And Ojo's a little bit more scared. He's crawling. I'll have him like that. His legs coming down. Legs like that. And then lastly, we've got the cat, and I want the cat to be sort of nonchalant about her traversing and sort of looking at the others frustratingly, like, you idiots. She's kind of standing on a rock that's sort of vertical. Some grass coming out. All right, so I got that. Next, I'm going to create a new layer. I want to kind of so it's going to be like steps. So it's going to be like, but really crazy angled steps, you know. There's another step. I want them to kind of be angled differently. Actually, let's get them. And then there's grass coming out here, grass coming out there, maybe grass sticking up there. I think I want these steps to be actually a little bit even more sort of angled in a crazy way, like they're almost curving down. And then in the background, we got some mountains. Some woods. Just creating different layers of different colors. Just and we've got some clouds going on this way. Sort of leading the eye towards. Ooh, let's get those on their own layer. Forgot to create a new layer. That's okay. I was gonna change it anyway. There we go. All right. I know it's still messy, but I'm still trying to figure things out. One thing I'm realizing now is that Ojo's going to be wearing his hat, so let's find a new color for that just real quick. So maybe I want to move him down a little bit if I can. So let's do this. Let's move him down there. Just feeling out a composition here. I know it looks like nonsense, but just feeling things out. Let's get the glass cat a little bigger. Put them closer together like that. Some fun mushrooms in the foreground. Put those up there too. If I can get my name and the title a little bit in. There. Brand Draws on Instagram asks, why do you sketch with 100% opacity? I don't know. Why wouldn't I guess. I will lower the opacity, you know, on these layers once I'm going to, actually, let's do that right now. I'm going to merge them. And that'll be another layer of rough that I can draw on top of. I usually draw the characters first and then sort of work on the environment around it, or to make the environment work with the characters as opposed to the reverse. You're going to see the very, very messy. Still trying to keep it loose. The idea behind this cover is not too dissimilar from the issue 1 cover, but it's more story. It's more in sort of in-universe story related, as opposed to the graphical nature of, you know, hanging from the actual title. Brenda says, I've never done that way before, meaning sketch at 100% opacity. Oh, thanks for the compliment. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, this is my technique. I'll sketch. Then I'll lower the opacity, and then I'll sketch some more. I don't think that looks quite right. Patchwork Girl is new to the world, so she's very excited to see everything. Look like she's stretching, and she's like the scarecrow character of this book in a way. See you, Statistical Zero on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by. Jules on YouTube asks, who are some of your art inspirations? Many. Oops. Stick around and I'll talk about a couple of them when we get to the Talkin Comics. Whoops, Talkin Comics part of the show. Usually at the 45-minute marker, around there, for the Monday and Friday shows. Really try to keep things sort of energetic and loose at this stage, so that I'm not getting too locked in, and I feel like I can change things if I need to. Just getting loose. loose stuff down. And adjusting things as I need to. The characters are always going to be my main focus in terms of making sure those are looking right. Oops, I always do that. And then I'll get the environment working around them. Let's see. So and I'm constantly shifting and, you know, moving things around as need be. Sometimes I gotta be careful how I keep the proportions of Ojo here correctly. He's got a big head and a smaller body, and he's much smaller than Patchwork Girl. Hey, look, Kay Youngda joined my live stream. Hello, Kay Youngda. Some mushrooms around here. Start getting in the stairs a little bit. Adjust her arm here so it's not completely covered up by the title. Right there, I think is okay. Some flowers and stuff because she's holding on to flowers. Not crazy about this so far. Jules on YouTube asks, what is the most important element or key when keeping a composition eye-catching? I wish I knew the answer to that. Because I feel like I'm failing on it right now. I like the idea of this when I started it, but something's not right. Something's not right. I think I know what's not right. I'm going to turn this off. Reduce the opacity here. Let's add another layer. I think I need to have her leg a little closer there. And then maybe have her, I'm not sure. I know I want her to have like crazy legs always, you know. It's a little better. Yeah, I like being able to see both legs. Kind of like she's climbing a mountain. I mean, to answer your question, Jules, as much as I can. I mean, there's rules of composition always. What you don't see here is the background. It's going to help to move the eye, but you know, Western audiences read left to right, so I'm making the motion left to right, you know, top to bottom, but still left to right. I'm grouping the characters sort of centrally, but spaced out, and each of them has their own approach to descending the stairs. You know, and I have different. Here's another cover I'm working on. I haven't finished coloring, but this one I think adheres. This is issue 2's cover. This one adheres more to sort of compositional rules. The rule of thirds. His face is on the third. You know, if you break this down into thirds, his face is right where it should be to be the focus of the piece. And the title is sort of on it's on the third line, but it's not exactly placed, you know, exactly correct. Here's another one it's in progress. It's gonna be more a painterly piece. It's gonna be a bottle with a label on it, Powder of Life, with you know, sort of light and smoke radiating out. This is definitely more centrally, you know, more of a centered piece, but it's lower in the composition, sort of on a third also. I'll be honest, I'm still not completely on. Here's another cover that I'm working on. I don't like the colors for this yet. I need to do something about this, but I mean, this is just a simple. I like the idea behind this, but I'm still not to where I want it to be, which I don't know if that makes sense yet, but I liked the initial sketches and layout for it, but I'm having a hard time finding the colors for it. It looks too muddy right now, if that makes sense. For this, oh, you know what? I've said this before. Sometimes you gotta like look away from a drawing and come back to it to have it make a little bit more sense. And I immediately saw one thing that was wrong with this is that her head didn't look like it was in the right place. And I also think his head is too close to the way her head is, so I'm going to push that back like that. His proportions don't look right now, though. Maybe I won't do that. Well, it's a process, you know. I guess maybe I need to finish drawing their heads a little bit more. Covers can be so important too, so you want to get it right. But I think with this cover, one of the things that I'm trying to do is tell a little bit of a story. You know, you see the three companions, and each of their attitudes are very different. That's part of the story being told. So, what time is it? Oh, we're getting close. I do apologize for not having a more sort of finished piece to work on today, but these Makin and Drawing Comics episodes are really just going to be whatever I have on the drawing board that day that needs some work done. One of the things about comics that even as a professional you always forget about is that covers need to be done far in advance. So issue 5's cover is getting the treatment today. I'm starting to see the characters now. Or at least her, I should say. A little bit there, and then hang there. So now I'm starting to see it. And again, it might look like there's some dead space here, and here. There's gonna be mountains here and clouds coming down. And I need a little bit of room here for the issue number, so that'll be there too. Starting to see her now. Let's see. Cloud Prototype on Instagram says, or asks, question, what do you do when you find yourself struggling with line art? Do you go and find a reference or focus on something else? It depends. Sometimes it's a good idea to like power through, but like I was just saying, I'm not sure you were on or not, but sometimes it's a good idea to take a step away, because sometimes if you just come back to it later, you'll see exactly what's wrong. Like a few minutes ago, I came back to this and I saw that the Patchwork Girl's head was just looked wrong, and so I moved it, repositioned it, and I think this is starting to work for me now. And don't be afraid to start over. That's another thing. It's like, don't be afraid to just chuck it if something's not working. And that's one of the great things about digital. Oh, that works great right there. I have it right there. Digital is so easy to just to not just delete a layer if you don't need it, but turn it off and start over, and then you have the old version there to check back if you want to, and sometimes you'll find that your original sketch did work. It just wasn't, you weren't approaching it the way that you intended to. There's so many ways to. Hold on, I want to make sure that it's got some there. One of the things to do, like here, I'll show you some. Turn these off. Here's my initial. Here's my first sketch for this. It was literally just throwing down nonsense to get an idea of the general composition of shape. And originally I had them grouped together. You can't really maybe see it, but I had them. And then I look back at my cover issue 1, and they were so grouped together in that one that I didn't want to repeat that. And so here was my second take, where I split them apart. You can see it performing more. Patchwork Girl is here, Ojo's here, and then there's a cat here. And this is where we're working towards now. Which is working a lot more now that I'm starting to pencil things in. It's not the most elegant composition. I admit that, but there's something right about it. I need to work on Ojo. He's really not working for me so far, but I'll get there. The glass cat is working for me in a general sense. I think I've figured out how to make this work a little better. But it's a constant. It's a process, There. I think one of the things that, like, I love the Patchwork Girl as a character. She's got the big eyes, or she's always sort of excited about what she's seeing. That'll help to draw, I think, draw in the eyes of a viewer as it's sitting on the comic stand. I really love drawing the Patchwork Girl. She can be a pain sometimes because, oh geez, those patches. I promised my able flatter, my lovely wife, she's my flatter, that I would never make her flat the patches. I would always do that, and I would never ask my co-colorist on the book to do that either. It's one of those sort of, if you're gonna do the Patchwork Girl of Oz, you better be prepared to draw those patches over and over and over and deal with those patterns, But Patchwork Girl is such a great character. I'm so glad that I get to do this comic and put my stamp on Baum's character. I hope Oz fans and non-fans, new Oz fans, enjoy the comic. Cloud Prototype says, I think I get too stuck on something until I burn out. Love what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, thanks. Jay Branda on Instagram says, what's the timeline production from start to finish for something like this? It depends. If you're on a like a bi-monthly or monthly schedule, you better be able to get the comic out. It really comes down to how you work. I mean, it's a cop-out answer, but it's true. You learn what you can and can't accomplish in a certain amount of time. I go by what I call processes. I do about 2 to 3 processes a day. A process for me is penciling, inking, or coloring a page. So today I'm doing like 2 almost 3 processes, because I penciled a page earlier today and started inking a page earlier today, and I'll be finishing those later on. And this is sort of bonus work that I'm doing that I needed to do. So I thought, I'll put that on the stream today. But the most important thing to do in comic production is figure out what you can do. And where did I put his hand? I guess I'll put it here. Put it right there. That works. Figure out what you can do in a day, and then map out. I have a chart. Here, I'll show you real quick. So here's a finished chart for an 22-page issue that I did myself. 69 processes total, excluding lettering, which I do at the layout stage, so I don't really count that, but otherwise that's 69 processes. So that's 22 times 3, that's 66, plus 3 more for the cover, 69. And I figure out what I can do each day, map that out on a calendar, and then as I go, I fill in the blanks, if you can see that. And I learned that through years of making comics, that it's all about getting those processes in. I actually hired on I did the first 2 issues of this on my own, and once it got picked up, actually it has not been announced yet, so don't tell anybody, but it's going to be published. But once it got picked up to be published, there's no way I could have done this all on my own, so I had to bring on a colorist, and luckily the colorist that I had worked with before on Oddly Normal a little bit said yes. She's awesome, and so I think in the end it'll be like a month and a half process from start to finish. We're still working out the kinks. I should say we, not. I should say I, not we. I'm not trying to. I don't want anybody else to get blamed for my being behind. But why do I keep doing that? It should be a month and a half process ultimately. Start to finish. Now, I mean, that's just the sort of production of the pages. After that, there's, changes, little editing to be made, some stuff that you gotta, when you're doing your own thing, your own comic, even if it's published, like, you gotta figure out back matter and stuff like that, and that's all on me. Back matter being the stuff at the back of the comic. It's not the most creative word for it, but like the comics themselves will be about 20 to 22 pages long each. I'm going to try to stick to that. With Oddly Normal, sometimes I went over that, but I'm really going to try to stick to 20 to 22 pages per issue, and because I have an idea for what I want the back matter for all the comics to be, and I want it to be all my stuff and not ads and stuff like that. That's gonna take a little bit more work on my part, but it should be worth it. But all that stuff takes time. You know, that's more. Oops. Gotta remember what I'm doing here. Just looking at Ojo. So if you're in any way an indie creator, which I consider myself to be, despite the fact that it will be published, I'm still creating everything. It's a big job. One of the things that you need to figure out is that you need to learn how to be a project manager, and if you don't have any skills in that area, you better find it. You better learn how to do it, because it's all about project management. Your head is a little too big. I do try to keep my characters on model. Oops. It's very important to me. I always treat my comics like they're boy, Ojo's face looks weird. Like they're comic book adaptations of an existing animated film, so I really try to keep things on model as much as I can. Well, I got the characters all penciled up. I think now, well, and I went over, but I did start late, so that's okay. All right, so that's it for the Makin part of comics. You got a little peek into the process of a future cover for the Patchwork Girl of Oz. This is obviously still like an early stage of the pencils. Lots of work to do. Still a lot of work to do. But that said, let's get rid of this. Don't go away, because now it's time to talk comics. I want to make sure that the focus is good, so give me 1 second here. Today, we're going to be talking about 2 comics from my collection, 2 comics that I love, that I wish I could use as influence for something, but it won't happen, and when I show them to you, you might understand why. I just got to get them out of their bags and boards. They're pretty old. Let me just fix the camera. All right. Oh, let's put them this way. They are Fantastic Four number 252 and Spider-Man number 6. And they are sideways issues. That's what makes them special, and that's what makes them so the format is why I can't let them influence me, because I cannot do a sideways issue. Hey, look for free Lakeside tattoo samples. Yeah, so let's see. It's not really bright enough, so I can get some light on these. That's too much light. There we go. It's a little better. So these are two of my favorite comics. I love the sideways comic book storytelling. The first one that I ever saw in this format was Fantastic Four, which came out in probably like, what, 82? 83. And you don't see this too often anymore because people just, I mean, you don't see sideways issues. And this was a very rare thing back then. I don't know if anybody before John Byrne, who penciled and inked and wrote this issue. This was during his amazing run on Fantastic Four. And one of the great things about this comic, I'm trying to get the lighting to where it looks good. You know, comic book artists, we all have to work usually in this vertical format, and sometimes it can be restricting. Sometimes you wish you could do something like this because it allows for much more sort of cinematic storytelling. You can do much wider images. Obviously there's a panel that takes advantage of that. Again, another long panel. It's a lot of fun to see. Look at this. You can put arrows here to show how you're supposed to read it. I mean, I don't think anybody would get confused, but it was very nice of Mr. Byrne to do that. Yeah, so I remember picking this comic up in 83 when it came out. I had just fallen in love with comics. I'd just gotten into comics as a medium that I really liked. I think it's not bright enough. I wish I could get more light on this. I'm sorry about this. Doing my best. Yeah, that's a little better. Anyway, it allowed for different forms of comic storytelling because you could do different panel compositions. You could do different. You can lead the viewer's eye, the reader's eye, in different ways. You can see it in this panel right here. I mean, this could not be done horizontally. It would have to be the top of a page or bottom of a page. Same with this page here. You've got 5 separate vertical panels across the page, moving the story along. Pretty much equal size. The last panel is a little bigger, but you could do this, but it would either have to be half of the top or half of the bottom of a page. Byrne, in doing this, stuck to pretty conventional layouts in terms of his panels. And he did that. He did that for most of his work until I'd say the early mid 90s, when he really started getting kind of wild with his page compositions. You can see it a lot in like X-Men: The Hidden Years or the Generations series he did for Batman and Superman. But here he's still pretty conservative with the page layouts, even though he's taken on this very strange sideways comic issue. It's still really fun to look at, and it's a lot of fun. I wish I could do a sideways comic. I really do. Really do. Really great stuff. Look at that. Look at that. And then I love this character, Annihilus. This is the first time in this issue I think I've seen him do something like this, where he went for a kind of a non-vertical or horizontal panel composition. But boy, it would be so great to be able to do these really long and wide compositions in a comic page, especially now that as media consumers, we're all used to the widescreen format of TVs. Back at this time, they were all the square or slightly rectangular format. But widescreen, so-called widescreen storytelling, would be so much fun to do. So much fun. So I'm just going to flip through the rest of these. Oh wow, look at that. That's so great. And then I'm going to get to the Spider-Man issue. We're already done here. But so he really took a risk doing this, I think. I'm really glad that Marvel let him do it, because it's one of my favorite issues of Fantastic Four. Obviously, I still have the original comic. It's good stuff. And it clearly inspired Todd McFarlane. And this is issue 16 of Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man run. It's the series that he wrote and drew, and after his amazing run on Amazing Spider-Man as a penciler. And I think issue 1 of this is it still, or is X-Men #1 the biggest selling still, or is it Spider-Man? I forget. But this is actually Todd McFarlane's last issue on the series, and he really went out in style by doing this sideways issue. I wonder if he had to talk his editors into doing it. Hey, that's pretty cool. Look at this in the little box. The FF are there. It ties into what I just showed you. That's kind of cool. Special sideways issue. But Todd really went to town with the format, and in his great cartoony way, he brought energy to every single page, and starting with this beautiful first page. And now look at this. It's a double page spread, but it's a sideways double page spread, and you can imagine at 11 by 17 inches each of these original pages butted together would look really great. Really great. Todd is Cyan Street. Cyan is the name of his daughter, which I think she had just been born around this time, around the time that he stopped drawing Spider-Man, started drawing Spawn. So he worked her name into things like that. Special assist by Rob Liefeld. I think Rob inked a couple of pages for this. But here you get to where he starts to do wacky things, like that Byrne didn't do, breaking the panel border, having Juggernaut here just be completely in the foreground, even of the panel. And then again, the second panel here has a third panel embedded in it. It's stuff that you couldn't do in this format in the regular comic. Just really beautiful stuff. There's another one, taking advantage of that white space. And again, this is very indicative of Todd's style at the time, where he would just do an extreme close-up of something, and even though there's not much to it, there's so much energy to it. It's really great how also the panel composition here, the dialogue balloon is not inside the panel, it's beside it. That's really great. The giant Juggernaut hand here in the foreground. When I first discovered Todd McFarlane, I had not read comics for a while. I talked about this in my the episode where I discussed Spawn #1. So when I found this comic, it was immediately after discovering Todd's work, and it was so cool getting to become a fan of the work of an artist who had built up a library and a body of work that I didn't know about, so that when I first discovered him, with Spawn, I was able to go back and find so many great comics that he had drawn, and find his history as an artist. This is such a cool use of the horizontal format, and there's so much energy here. The energy that Todd put into his work is just amazing. The street being ripped up as Cannonball. It's Juggernaut. It's really great stuff. And again, you could do this panel in a regular comic, but he wouldn't have been able to get all this detail in there because it would have been a lot shorter. A little bit of unfortunate foreshadowing with the Twin Towers there. Another splash page that the use of space here and the energy in the figures is just wonderful. Thunderbird in the foreground pushing against the unstoppable juggernaut. Just, it's the kind of page you wish you could own the original artwork for, but it would cost your retirement. We're getting to the end of this, and he goes out with a bang in this series. He really did. I mean, you could tell that he was sort of at the top of his game and ready to do his own thing. Good stuff. Oh, look at this. The Juggernaut coming up, but also sort of framing the other panels in doing so. I love that. And I think we're getting to it. Yep, the final pages, double page spread. This giant image of Cable coming at you. Where is it? Oh no, there are more pages. I'm sorry. What's the last page? Oh, it's similar. So this isn't the last page. This is another double page spread, but still great. And apparently, there's some controversy around this panel here. He originally drew it actually piercing Juggernaut's eye, and his editor said no. I think that probably just was one more reason for him to say, "See ya, Marvel. I'm gonna go do my own thing if you won't let me do what I want to do." And this is what I thought. This is the last page. Another double page spread. This epic shot of X-Force and Spider-Man coming at you. Just wonderful. And then X-Force number 4 is when the storyline was continued. I think, was it also a Sideways issue? I can't remember. I wasn't really an X-Force fan. But here's his farewell to all readers of the past few years. Thanks. It's been a blast. Todd McFarlane. He went out with a great one. This is one of my favorite single issues of all time. There's nothing. I mean, even the Fantastic Four issue is nowhere near as sort of experimental and balls to the wall as this one is in terms of the energy on each page and the amount of thought that went into the compositions of the splash pages and the double page spread. It's just really great stuff. I really love it. It's a beauty, this issue. It really is. So there it is. The today's Makin and Talkin comics Sideways issues. 2 great Marvel comics by 2 of my favorite artists, John Byrne and Todd McFarlane. They influenced me. It might not be obvious in my work, but they definitely both have influenced my work in huge ways. John Byrne in his storytelling and his clear storytelling, and Todd McFarlane, he showed me that you can be cartoony and still work in the mainstream. Great stuff. All right, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Sorry for the technical glitches that started things off. I will hopefully have no more glitches in the future, and things will get even more streamlined. I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central, with another commission show. I think I'm working on Hellboy. I want to finish that one soon. Actually, I want to finish all of the ones I'm working on, but hopefully Hellboy will be done soon. But tomorrow I'll be back 1 p.m. Central. Hope to see you then. Thank you so much. Take care.